Hi, welcome to the Shepherd's Rest Dog Talk. This is episode 64A.
I'm Cam and this is Julie.
Yes.
So this week we are in the middle of the Feast of Trumpets. That's why we have a different setting. We literally just finished Tishri 1 being together and celebrating. Yes. And so it's, we just got off the got off the volleyball court and thought, well, let's throw this together.
Yes.
So this week, while we're going to be talking about Deuteronomy 31, I thought we'd also do a quick little summary of what we are celebrating, which is the Feast of Trumpets. Mm-hmm. This is beginning Tishri 1, the new month. It is going into the next 10 days, which are considered the Day of Awe, or the Days of Awe, Days of Judgment, getting us ready for Yom Kippur. I guess kind of in a nutshell, what we're doing now is, as believers, we're celebrating and rehearsing what we are hopefully going to be doing when Messiah returns. Now, whether that returns means he's coming and gathering us into Jerusalem at that time, or he's blowing the shofar to let us know, hey, it's time to move, like it happened with Israel. When Israel, it was time to move, the shofar blew, they knew, time to move, they understood. Wouldn't that be awesome? As often as we always wonder, is it time to move? What's the Lord have planned for us? If he took care of that by simply on the Feast of Trumpets, when we hear that shofar, we understand the meaning of it. Mm-hmm. And all over the world, all those who are practicing and rehearsing his appointed times will all have the same understanding of what's been heard and move together as one body. Yes, and I really believe that that's for sure a part of what will happen. The Feast of Trumpets, we also have...
it's the pattern.
Absolutely, if it's a pattern of what Israel called out to wilderness, which we really believe that's what's happening with us today. We're in the wilderness, slowly trickling back into the land, and eventually, as he's promised, that he will gather us back into the land. That's found in Isaiah, it's found in Ezekiel, it's found in Jeremiah. These are promises that Paul understood when he spoke in 1 Thessalonians and in 1 Corinthians. He spoke of these things with the thought process that you guys already understand what I'm talking about. It's the ingathering of Israel. Remember the significance there?
All of Israel will be saved.
That's the significance. That's what that mystery was. It wasn't just going to be Israel as in the tribe of Judah coming back in, or the kingdom of Judah. It wasn't that. It was all of Israel was coming back in.
Through Messiah, the northern kingdom as well.
So when that's Paul's big, remember his epiphany was, hey, oh my gosh, it's not just those, the tribe of Judah who've been practicing, it's those who also were cut off are now coming in. Right. So when he speaks of being caught up in the with the Lord, or being one with the Lord, or being with him forever, right? Where's the Messiah going to reign? He's reigning in Jerusalem. Okay, what is Jerusalem? Jerusalem is the threshold.
The city.
It's the city, but it's also the earthly threshold into the heavenlies.
Right.
Here's where we stand today. When the disciples walked with Yeshua, it wasn't until after he died, rose again, that they then came to understand by the Holy Spirit, to understand what he meant by what he said. Right. I truly believe that, again, that's what's going to happen with us in the end. Right. We're going to be able to look back and go, now I fully understand.
Now I understand what the scriptures meant.
Right, but not for the prediction. I believe that there's a little too much concentration on what's going to happen. That's that Greek mindset versus that Hebraic mindset of how do I please you and how do I serve you. Right. When we concentrate on our relationship with the Lord, serving him and looking like him, we can properly be the light. We can properly then have more people drawn to him, and he'll take care of the rest. Right. And we got to remember that. It's fun to speculate. It's fun to look for those patterns. But I think that he allows there to be so many vague points so that we can be surprised. Yeah. Just like when he divorced, when the Lord God divorced Israel, there was this mystery of how are you going to come back together? Because right after that, he says, oh, but when I bring you back in. So I think that's the same idea. It's a mystery. It's going to be testimony to us. It's going to be a testimony to the angels. I mean, to everyone. Look, even to the demonic world, it's going to be a testimony. Because they too don't know what it looks like. All right. So again, it's fun to play with. It's fun to really spend some time midrashing and studying it, so you do know at least the things that can't quite fit the patterns. Right. So again, that's kind of Feast of Trumpets where we've been. So let's jump real quick into this week's Torah portion, which again is Deuteronomy, basically the whole chapter of 31. It stops one verse shy of being the whole chapter. So I see some significant things which I really think are great, especially for this time of the fall feast, which will be again fulfilled when Messiah returns. And one of the things that runs through this week is how the Lord himself, okay, is going to be with Israel. But he also, not only is God himself, he also then says Joshua. We see the Father, but we also see Joshua, Yahoshua, which is another name. Well, it is the name, I guess, for Yeshua.
For Yeshua.
Right. So it's interesting because we go back to Abraham, right? We have the torch and we have the smoke, we have the Father and the and the Word. Okay. Here again we have Yeshua, how do you say it, as Messiah, and you have the Fatherhead, or the Lord. Both of those acting together, carrying Israel in. All right. Well, we see that. We're going to see that when Messiah comes. But the Father is doing all these things. The Lord is doing all these things. And then he's like, hey, go. It's time to get your woman, right? Time to get the bride. And then Messiah comes. But I think when we realize that both of those are working hand in hand and bringing them into Israel, again, both will be working hand in hand to bring us into the kingdom, to the beginning of the Messianic age. Deuteronomy 30 and to the end, okay, is actually said to be on Adar 7, which is the day in which Moshe is said to have died. So on his last day, before he dies, he's a busy man. He finishes writing the Torah. He shares next week, he shares the Song of Moses so that we would have something tangible to remember, to really, to take to heart that encapsulates the entire journey of Israel, to be a witness and a testimony to that last generation.
Right.
And we see in Revelation where they have the Song of Moses and the Lamb, right? So, hey, we can't dismiss the significance of the Song of Moses that has all this information that's literally going to pierce the heart of that generation and bring them back and show not only that the Lord did all these, but that he promised from the beginning to bring us back in. Moses is told that when he dies, the people are going to turn away. They're going to sin. They're going to fall back onto their old ways and worship like Egypt, basically. Well, look what happened when Messiah left.
Exactly.
Same thing. That's where we were. But we're being called back out, okay? We're being called back to his word. And what we also see this week is that the Torah is finished. It's been given to the priest. The priest hold on to it. And it says to put it on the outside of the ark. Not so that it's where no one can get to it, but there to be a witness. I love this. It's there to be a witness against Israel. Because again, his words do not return void. So if blessing and curse, which one did you choose? The ramifications of each one are going to be evident. In 31:11, we see that the Torah is to be read every 7 years so that everyone can learn. Remember, they didn't have printing presses. They weren't walking around with their own copy of the Torah, their own scrolls, okay? It was a very...
That's why I said write it on your heart.
Yes.
You're not going to have it to
I mean,
look
kids
at every day.
age 5 were starting to learn Leviticus first. And they had a real love for being holy, to being set apart. So we see...
But isn't that interesting? Because while they only heard it every 7 years, they lived it.
Right.
So it was ingrained in just every day. What they did every single day.
It was
the way
almost...
they walked every day. And then when they would hear it, they'd be like, oh, that's why we do that. Oh, that's why we have those laws.
Oh, wow, we've missed that mark.
Yes.
Oh, this is how we fix it.
Right.
And we see those examples throughout the prophets where we have kings who find it later, Josiah, and they read it and everyone weeps. They didn't know. Sin of ignorance. That's where we are today. Man, when we start to learn Torah, we're like, we didn't know.
That's right.
We didn't know.
And then we get to see where it's been twisted
exactly,
and how we can go
and
back.
learn. But I would say that when Messiah comes, he will, we know he's going to teach it from the mountain, right? He will be the one as the king, the heavenly priest, high priest, and the king who's going to read it. He's going to fulfill this and keep it so, keep it in line. Now, it's said that some is just Deuteronomy read. Others say, no, it's the entire Torah that's read. It says all of Torah. I'm going to say all of Torah. Look, they've got 7 days of straight reading. It can be done. It can be done.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I would think that it would be the entire Torah because, it's very important that we know our history.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
if they just read Deuteronomy, they would know their history from the time they left Egypt. So their history as a nation.
Yeah.
But as a people, where they came from,
Yeah.
Abraham, that's all very important. And
Right.
they all knew that too. So I don't know. That's just
Yeah,
my guess.
because what good is saying the promise to the forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, if you don't know it?
if you only know who Jacob is.
Right. We see that heaven and earth, okay, that's another reason why we got to know it all, because it starts with heaven and earth being the
That's right.
witnesses, and
It's
it
gonna
ends
end
with
with
heaven
heaven
and
and
earth. That's right. So, hey, in this week's Torah portion, it talks about heaven and earth. Those are the witnesses. They're also going to be involved. And the Lord is going to fulfill everything in this. Next week, when we look at the song of Moses, we will look at things more in depth. I know this week we kind of glossed over things, but again, we have been just having a blast for the last 2 days, and we didn't get things prepared in time to get this to you guys to listen to for the week. So we thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have a marvelous week, and we do hope that your hearts will be softening as you prepare for Yom Kippur, which is a time for the nation of Israel. And as we've been grafted in, that
right.
means it's also a time for us.
Very good.
So we will see you on the flip side with Julie and the Brit Hadashah. Shalom.